Hey, this is the World Advice Channel 2. So for this video, this is part 2 of my series where I discuss the topic of why people hate liberals. So before I get into the 5 new points for this video, I'm just gonna finish off the last point I wasn't able to for part 1 of this this video series. And what I just wanted to finish off with is the fact of the matter is that when it comes to the topic of being gay, to be quite honest with you, okay? The truth of the matter is, to sum up my point, I was trying to get at, if you want to be gay, okay, that's okay. That's your life choice. But at the same time, you can't force your opinions on other people, which a lot of gay people are very guilty of doing. They force their views on other people. They sometimes do these programs where they go to school and they let people know, okay, it's okay for people to be gay. I know they'll just present the sides of the argument that back up, okay, there's nothing wrong with being gay, it's natural, this and that, yada 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 yada, to even having to show, foot images of men kissing each other and so on and so forth. Okay? And the truth of the matter is, if us liberals want to be accepted, by society, well, not even the case about being accepted by society, but at least be able to win popular votes, why the hell are we doing things that make people get turned off from us? Because at the end of the day, when it comes to homosexuality, you have to figure out if that's a choice you want to make and present the pros and the cons, which there definitely is cons to being gay. Okay, to be quite blunt and honest with you, okay? But the thing is, the gay community, when you say that, say you're homophobic. Not to mention the fact that, they try to show images of men kissing each other in commercials and billboards. Like, why the fuck does anyone want to see that? If you're not gay, why the hell does anyone want to see that? Since the majority of the population is well straight. And that's what I'm trying to get across here. So in short, to sum it up, if you want to be gay, that's your personal choice. No one should stop you if you want to do it, but you can't force your views on other people. You can't tell people it's okay to be gay, and tell them, yes, being gay is the best option, and so on and so forth, instead of letting them decide if they want to do it, as well as the fact of showing men kissing each other and stuff for a society that feels uncomfortable looking at that stuff, okay? That is the honest truth of the matter, okay? So that just finishes up my point I was making for the last video, okay? So now let's get started with obviously the 5 new points for this video, okay? So the first one that definitely I want to get to, or in other words, the 6th point, is that when it comes to the reason why people hate liberals is this illegal immigration issue, okay? Now, this one is so goddamn annoying, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, let's keep it real though, there's easily over 700 to 800 million people in Latin America, okay? To be quite blunt and honest with you, 700 to 800 something million people in that part of the world, okay? And America, to the top of them, is the world's richest country, okay? Could you imagine if we didn't have any border control, how many people would go into the United States of America, okay? A lot. And I mean a lot, okay? And to be honest with you, yes, the American government kind of brought this on themselves, because yes, they do have a history of destabilizing Latin American nations. Yes, I know that talking point. Yes, it's literally America's fault because, well, no shit, they destabilized their nations, the history of things like the Banana Republic and all that stuff. Yes, I know about that stuff. Yes, that is technically American government's fault. Yes, it is the American government's fault, but even still, just because they are stupid enough to do that stuff, and sabotage other nations, doesn't mean that everyday American has to suffer the consequences of literally having the possibility of for all you know, tens of millions of people in a span of a year or a few years literally coming into the nation looking like something out of a movie. Obviously you need border patrol, but whenever you talk about that, people just say you're freaking racist, and it's so stupid because obviously you can't just let everyone in, to be quite blunt and honest with you. And that's exactly what I'm fucking saying, to be quite honest with you. There's a difference between, okay, this is starting to sound racist versus a case of, this is not racist. There's a difference between we don't want people of color coming into our nation versus, okay, they're coming in illegally by the truckloads because they're paying the consequences of what the American government was doing, which is so stupid. Because if we have literally millions of people coming in a nation, that can literally make a nation kind of collapse. And it's literally been proven as easily hundreds of millions of people in Latin America due to polls that they've done, in other words, research, whatever you like to say, research they've done, that want to come to the United States. Can you imagine how many would come in if there was no border patrol whatsoever? And that's exactly what I'm trying to fucking say. That's so dumb. And that's what I'm trying to say. And whenever you say this to a lot of liberals, they get extremely angry and say you're racist. Specifically the radical left. Versus the actual genuine proper left, which people like me are a part of. And that's what I'm trying to say. And it's so goddamn fucking annoying. And that's the truth of the matter. So that's my 6th point. Okay. Now the 7th point is the promotion of immorality. Now this one is definitely something that a lot of them are guilty of, promoting that it's okay to do things that are moral, which specifically I'm going to use for this example, this whole thing that they've been trying to preach, that it's okay to be a sex worker, okay? There's nothing wrong with it. We should remove the stigma around it, which is something this new wave of woke liberals created, which is like, where the hell is this coming from? I don't know either, my man, but that's what they're promoting, this whole promotion of immorality, that it's okay to be gay, or not in this case, but I mean, it's okay to be a sex worker, which obviously is not a good way of thinking because it destroys lives, and it ruins people's reputation. It makes it hella easy for people to make fun of somebody's, relative. I don't know why the fuck someone would come up with something like this, this promotion of sex work, but a lot of them are promoting it now and saying we should remove the stigma, which is so goddamn stupid. I don't know where the hell they got this from, but this is something this new woke liberals are pushing, and it's wrong. And that's my point right there. Now, on to the next point, body positivity. Now, this one is just absolutely silly, okay? It's, even though it's not as obviously disturbing as the last one, this one is definitely very goddamn silly, which is this whole topic of promoting it's okay to be overweight. Now, let's be honest here, okay? As we all know, being overweight, whether it comes on health or even appearance, it's not the best thing, okay? Specifically, the biggest one of all, let's be honest, we tend to notice is how it looks. It does not look good being overweight, but as body positivity movement teaches people, it's okay to be overweight. Some people are just naturally big boned, which has actually been proven to be a myth. Instead of actually letting them know, maybe you should take responsibility and eat less, exercise more, and so on and so forth. It doesn't teach people to think that way. It just teaches people to accept the fact that they are overweight, which is just silly because it's kind of like saying, okay, I give up, As I've just said, they also, of course, know shit as well, just to add to that, have this way of thinking that if you call someone fat, that somehow it's discriminatory. Like, who the hell comes up with that type of stuff, okay? Like, yes, it might be mean sometimes to call someone overweight and this, but that's a part of life. We're gonna go around telling people, okay, it's wrong to be, to call someone fat, that's a slur. Like, come on, man, get real now. That's silly, okay? So that's my 8th point, okay? Now on to the 9th point, okay? That definitely is a very big one that's very close to me, and I absolutely hate this one, is their hatred for like the military slash this pacifism way type of thinking. In other words, their pacifistic way of thinking, that violence is never the answer, war is wrong, yada yada yada, which I think is a very silly way of thinking, because sometimes you have to realize, okay, in life, you do have to defend yourself. If you don't defend yourself, it makes you an easier target for people to do some really evil things to you. So to answer your question, in short, this whole pacifistic way of thinking is extremely stupid, it's extremely silly. And the truth of the matter is, I feel like a lot of civilizations that existed throughout history that did have that way of thinking, There's going to be things that are going to happen that I don't even think is worth mentioning. Okay, to sum it up, you want to defend yourself. Okay, if you get conquered by another nation, that's not a good thing. The things they will do is not even worth mentioning. Okay, so that is my second, or I should say my ninth point. Okay, and on to the last one is environmentalism. Okay, now of course we need to take better care of the environment, and yes, global warming is real, but another thing, you know, that these liberals do, these radical liberals do, is they take it too far, okay? Everything from trying to push this carbon tax stuff that they're trying to do, tell people we should serve less food and less water and all this type of stuff, and even the whole paper straw thing, and stuff, and it gets to a point where it's just like this is just ridiculous, okay? So that's my 10th point, okay? So to sum things up, as a liberal person, if the liberals can work on these 10 issues specifically, and become less radicalized for them, then people will like liberals more and it'll make it more likely liberals will be elected into government. And that is off to say, and so we put them out. Bye.